In this video, we are going to see one of the advanced Git command, that is stashing in Git. So let's see what is stash and how it works. Actually, stashing is an advanced command in Git. It's a process of storing something in secret area. Means storing something is nothing but whatever we create in our working directory, we want to store it in staging area. So once we store it in staging area, for some reason, if we don't commit it, at the same time I want to reuse it in future, then we think we have to store it somewhere, right? So storing it somewhere is nothing but stashing. This is useful when we need to switch branches or perform some other operation that requires a clean working directory. Git actually uses this stashing to temporarily store the uncommitted changes. So the changes which is there in the staging area, which is not yet committed, Git is using this stashing to store it. So let's see the workflow so that it will be easy for us to understand. Here you can see our working directory. From working directory, if we want to push it to the staging area, we give command called git add. So now we push the changes from working directory to staging area. From here, we are ready to push it to our local repository. If we are ready, then we will give git commit command. But for some reason, if we don't want to go here, to this local repository, and I want to store the changes which are there in the staging area, so I use git stash so that the changes will be stored in stashing area. So once I give git stash command, all the uncommitted changes, whatever changes are there in staging area, will be moved to this stashing area, and it will remain in stashing area itself. So whenever I want all the changes in the stashing area, from stashing area to my local repository, we can go with git stash. There are two types of commands like git stash pop and another one is git stash apply. So what this git stash pop will do is it will take all the unchanged items from the stashing area to the local repository, and then it will be removed from this stashing area. So if I want to know what are all the list of unchanged and uncommitted changes which is there in this stashing area, then we can give command like git stash list. It will give us the list of uncommitted changes which are already stashed in this stage area. There is another command called git stash apply. It will also stash it from this staging area to this local repository, but it won't remove it from the stashing area. But in git stash pop, here you can see in git stash pop, it will be removed. I have given here. So whatever we are, so whenever we are ready to commit, but we are not sure whether we can commit into our local repository or not, in that case we can use stashing. So stashing is helpful. So let's do it in our git bash. So let's see the git stash. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new folder. Let's say git stash. git stash in my local. So I'm going to open my git bash here itself. So wait a minute. So in my git bash, I want to make it as a git folder. So I'm going to give git init. So it has initialized the git. I'm going to clear it off. Now I want to make some initial commits and then I want to make some stash commits. So I'm doing some initial commits to my repository. So I'm going to say I'm adding some file f1, touch f1. I want to add it to the staging area. So the command I'm giving is git add. It got moved into a staging area. So here if I give git stash before giving the initial commits, let's see what will happen. Git stash, it says we don't have the initial commit yet. So what I should do is I need to commit it first. So git commit -m, then the commit message adding f1 initial commit. Let's say this is my commit message. So f1 has committed now. If I say git status now, you can see here f1 has committed here in my folder. So if I give git status, you can see we are on master branch, working tree is clean. What I have done here is I have added f1 file and I moved it into the staging area, then I committed it. So now what I do is I'm going to get another file and I wanted to add it to the staging area, and then I get into the stash and then going to apply and pop up. So let's see how to do it. Here I'm creating some file called f2, so that let's give touch f2. Then I'm adding it into the staging area. So I'm giving git add command. So now let's say I don't want to commit it. So I'm moving it into my stashing area. So what I do is I give git stash command. You can see here f2 file is here, which I have created now, touch f2. So keep your eye on it. So when we give git stash, it will be moved to the stashing area and this file will be removed from my working directory. So let me give enter. So you can see here f2 file has been moved to the stashing area and removed from my working directory. Now if I want to get back it from the stashing area, so what we can do is, before that let's see the list of stash. So what the command we are giving is git stash list, stash. Okay, git stash list. Now, if I say git stash pop, you can see my F2 file has been again moved to my working directory. I have got this back. So now I want to commit this F2 file. You can see here new file F2. So now I want to commit it. So I'm giving git commit -m, then F2 adding back from stash. I'm giving this as my commit message. So now I do clear, then I say ls-ltr. You can see F1 and F2 files are there. So if I give git status now, you can see the working tree is clean and we are on the master branch. So now again I'm giving git stash list to check the list of stash items. Nothing is here, you can see. So because we have used git stash pop, what pop will do is it will remove changes from stash. So we have seen the git stash pop. Let's see about the git apply. So to do git apply, I am creating another one file called touch f3 and I am adding it into my staging area. You can see f3 file has been added here. So I'm adding it to my staging area. Then I'm stashing it, git stash. You can see f3 file has been moved to our secret area. So if I give git stash list now, you can see the previous one f2 file. So because we have used which we have used this stash pop command, so now I'm giving git stash apply. New file f3 has been moved back. You can see f3 has been back. So I'm committing it, git commit -m f3 adding back from stash apply. This is my commit message. So I'm clearing it and I'm giving ls-ltr. You can see all the three files in our working directory, that is f1, f2, f3. So if I give git status now, our branch and working tray is clean, everything is clear. So again if I give git log, it will give all the things what we have done here. So you can see initially we added f1 initial commit, then f2 adding back from stash, then f3 adding back from stash apply. So if I give git stash list, You can see only this file because we have used git pop and git stash pop and git stash apply. This is how the git stash works. It is nothing but if we don't want to commit changes from the staging area, we can move it to the secret area called stashing area, and later on, whenever we want it, we can commit it by using